Well, how's it going, guys? And welcome to your Raw review. So, I'm still reeling from the fact that they're actually going to have WrestleMania from the Performance Center of all places, the granddaddy of them all. They've had stadiums with like 90,000 people, huge, massive events. This is like one, day out of the year when, wrestling becomes larger than life again. It doesn't matter even if the event is, crappy, because they're still going to have a big crowd, even though they don't sell out the tickets anymore half the time. They still get these huge, massive crowds, and now we're not gonna have a crowd. So like the one thing that kept WrestleMania just that much above everything else now is just like any other event out of the night. And here we go with Raw. This was kind of like SmackDown, but there was definitely more star power on here. We had Edge, Stone Cold, Undertaker. But man, oh man, even though I detest the fans, even though, the Smarks have ruined wrestling, not having a crowd there, it's hollow. And plus, I found it really annoying to watch this. It's just something about it's very grating that there's not a crowd there. I mean, you would think like if it's quieter, it would be more enjoyable. It's really not. After this many years of watching wrestling in front of crowds, the only thing comparable to this, and many people had joked about it even, was The Rock and Mick Foley. During the Super Bowl halftime show, the halftime heat in 1999. That was probably the only thing that came close to this being in an empty arena. There might have been some other things and like other promotions that I'm not aware of. I'm thinking of like something, but there's really not much to compare it to. So I said, why not take a break? There's always been talk of like, why doesn't WWE have an off season? I don't know if they've actually ever discussed it internally, but if people have discussed it, like, why not have an off season just like all sports? And this would be the perfect time to take a break, let the wrestlers go home and see their families. But of course not. Of course not. We're not going to do that. We're going to have these guys go out there and in front of it, nobody. Okay, so they didn't have basically everybody there tonight. It was limited staff. But at WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure they're going to still do the entire card. It's just going to be really crazy, like having all these matches, and it's going to be this long, massive show, and it's just going to be, in a small studio performance center with no one even watching it besides the people watching on the network. So anyway, let's get into this show. It really shouldn't take long to cut through it because a big chunk of this show was taken up by them airing the Royal Rumble again. It's nice that they gave this match for free, but regardless, did this show really need to be 3 hours? I mean, this was something I was looking at Wade Keller's review of this show, and I have to agree with him. If there was ever a time when they should just put Raw to 2 hours again, this would have been the show to do it. Was it really necessary? And of course it was, because they're not going to lose any sponsors over this. It doesn't matter. They're still going to go in for the full Monty, regardless of what the situation is in reality. So we start off with Edge cutting a promo. This was very intense. Edge, just like Orton, no one does it like this anymore. This is a rare form of promo. Usually you just get like the crowd pandering and just nonsensical lines, but you could hear this with Edge. I don't know if part of this was scripted, but however it was, Edge managed to do it pretty well. He addressed a lot of the things that Orton spoke about with Beth Phoenix 2 weeks ago, but it was good. It's just, everything is going to be marred in terms of quality to me when you just have this setting where it's very unappealing, and it's still in the back of my mind that this is just in an empty arena with no one there. It's just too odd. It's like just really like like I'm saying, WrestleMania, even if that ends up being like one of the best shows, from like a match standpoint, and how like good could it really be? You know what I mean? Because I'm saying it really is like grating. I'm not enjoying watching these shows when there's no one in there really. There's no like sense of adrenaline. Just there's nothing. No, it just seems very silly to me. They're going out there cutting promos just for the crowd, and okay, so you could say that with a show like NWA Power, they're only there like performing for like what 100 people or something like that. So you could say like, okay, what's 100 less people? It's just this is the WWE. Yeah, like just wow. It really is a fascinating juxtaposition, and a jarring one at that, to see just them trying really hard and just not getting a lot out of it, because they rely so much on the crowd really to like drive this thing and guide it, and they're not there to aid it. Now, like I said, it's interesting because this crowd really doesn't help this show much, but just having them there, they're a vital prop to the show, if that makes sense. But it's really just making things look very odd. So they air the Rumble match. Then they do the contract signing between Taker and AJ. Taker's in the ring. He flips the table over. He wants AJ to get out there. AJ signs the contract backstage. Making things even more boring than they already are. He tells the OC to go out there. Taker makes everything darken in the arena or the performance center, whatever you want to call it. He appears behind them and beats them up and signs a contract, and that's pretty much it. Interesting to note is that Taker was wearing a bandana, not really his classic bandana. He had his hair in the braided ponytail, which was very bikerish, but it's it's pretty much confirmed that this is still going to be the Phenom. This is still going to be Dark Side Undertaker. This is not going to be the biker, which a lot of people are clamoring for. I don't know what it is, if like Vince doesn't want that character anymore, or it's more that Taker doesn't want to do it, but he's still like dressed like him at the moment. So that's what doesn't really make any sense. Like, can he just go out, and plus, go out as the biker, especially if they're going to do this whole Michelle McCool thing, and AJ says it again, basically repeating himself from last week. It really was basically the same promo that AJ cut. Oh, Michelle McCool's making you do this. And it's really the same exact thing. This is what I can't stand about it. It's the same exact thing they're doing with Orton and Edge. There's no difference here. It's the same storyline. Your wife is making you do this. I'm blaming your wife. And that's basically all there is to that. And just to fire up Taker, that's supposed to be the thing igniting the feud. It's making it tense, is like, oh, AJ is, and really it's like not even that bad really what he's saying. It's to make Taker that angry, so it comes off extremely lame. Oh, your wife is making you wrestle. Oh man, let me get angry about this. Like, okay, it's not really that serious when you think about it. It's not something that Taker should be fuming over, but he is. Rey Mysterio defeats Andrade. For some reason, they had Asuka come out on commentary when this is not a women's division match. Zelina Vega's out there, but there's no heat between them. There's no feud going on. So what's the point of her being out there? I will say it's funny in a bad way. It's like so bad it's good. She starts freaking out at the end, going, oh, like. I'm like, what am I watching? Like, honestly, if someone turns this on that's not familiar with the current product, they're going to say, like, what the hell am I watching? This girl is screaming in Japanese and then all of a sudden she starts going, oh, like just like what is this? Like I got a feeling that like McMahon finds this funny or someone on creative finds it funny, and it is to a point, but it really is dumb. Like what? Like it's nothing like Asuka's not getting over due to her promo skills or her wrestling skills. It's because she speaks Japanese and she's able to get really excited. I don't know. I've got a feeling that like almost anyone could do this. Okay, she does have good facials. I guess you could say that. It's just I don't know. They're really like reaching because they know that like Asuka's not over. Asuka did not get over in the way that they were hoping that she was going to get over. So what did they do? You know, they tried every, you know, possible thing with her. You know, until they got to this point. You know, they tried doing her, you know, in a heel. They tried, you know, in a heel role. It wasn't really getting over, so now they're just kind of having her scream at the top of her lungs and get super excited. And, you know, it's not going to really last long. We know that, and thank God it's not. But they're going to keep doing this until they get tired of it and then move on to something else. And eventually, I don't know, Asuka will end up turning face again. And that's what they're going to do. It's not working as a heel, so turn her face. And then it's going to be just endlessly in that cycle. And they're going to wonder why Asuka's still not getting over. And the reason is because they're not really giving it a genuine effort. We already know that Asuka knows how to speak English to a certain degree. So there's really no point in pretending like she doesn't, especially when she's already done it on WWE TV. But I get that's supposed to be the character. But it's very one-dimensional. I mean, we're going to have her keep screaming at the top of her lungs constantly. Like, this is not a character. This is just like a little joke, but it's like a joke that's drawn out way too long. And, you know, they did it at the Elimination Chamber. This was supposed to be a heat builder. They kind of used it as a time filler between Shayna Baszler, you know, getting to fight her. And the time that was spent with the countdown, you know, was going on during the match. And, you know, they keep on doing this constantly. And, you know, like I said, it's going to end up just like basically everything else. They're going to stop eventually, move on to something else, and that's also not going to work. We've got Becky Lynch cutting a promo, probably one of the blandest, you know, most cringy Lynch-style promos that you could possibly get. Boring. Of course, she did the signature licking her lips like she always does. It's not something I've mentioned in the past, but Vince Russo has caught this, and I have to say now I can't unsee it. Every single time she comes out there, you know, you can hear she's constantly doing this, licking her lips, and it was extremely audible. Like, go watch that. Okay, I don't want to, like, ask anyone to watch this promo, but, you know, if you want to just see, like, the little intricacies that are, you know, usually intricacies would usually be like a good thing. This is like a bad thing. Constantly wetting her mouth. She's getting dry mouth. Like, obviously, she's not, like, comfortable there. You know, she's always, there's like three things that she does, the wetting her mouth, licking her lips, and the shaking her head constantly, you know, and it's the same thing repeated over and over. And she kind of gets into this psychological type of voice, and it's just, you know, we've been talking about this now for how long, and they're still gonna, you know, persistently go after this, and we're gonna go back to it because it's not the last time we're gonna see cringy Lynch on the show, unfortunately. Kevin Owens cuts a promo backstage. You know, here's a guy where he talks about all the moments that he's had, and it's always been moments that have, you know, been poorly followed up on. They had him beat Cena. Cena beats him right back, and they didn't do anything with him. Then they go ahead and have him attack Vince McMahon. And then they didn't do anything with that, really. You know, it just kind of resulted in him feuding with Shane. didn't really go anywhere. And now we're at this point, just having a bland match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. That's now going to be even blander thanks to the circumstances that we're in. So, I don't get it like with Owens. This is a guy that, like, he refuses to get in shape. He doesn't even change his outfit or anything. They have him stuffing his face with popcorn. Like, what is it that's appealing with this guy? And they're having him do the stunner, and he got approval from Stone Cold. Okay, like, what is, like, Stone Cold supposed to do? Tell him not to use it? Like, it's just a move, and he's retired anyway. So it's like people felt like, oh, this is a blessing. He's the chosen one now because he gets to use the stunner. No, he's not the chosen one. He's still just a fat oaf with nothing really to offer here. Like, they're not going anywhere with him. Does anyone notice that? Every week it's 8-man tags, 6-man tags. He's tagging with Joe. He's tagging with the Street Profits. It's not going anywhere. This is still the same feud from like 3 years ago, him versus Seth Rollins, and they're just basically switching a few things around, and this time Owens is the face as opposed to being the heel. Wow, they always do this. They will go back to something after a while, like when the roles are reversed, and I mean that's fine as long as the product is good, but here it just seems like they're just looping back around and we're basically getting the same thing we had last time. Just a bunch of matches with nothing, no character development. We don't tell me one thing about Kevin Owens that makes him interesting as a character. Can you? Can you really point one thing out to me? I'll wait. Let me know in the comments down below. What's one thing that makes Owens interesting? There's not a whole lot. Then we get our main segment of the night, the main event segment, the last segment's Stone Cold announcing 316 Day. And, okay, having Stone Cold there is fun. He announces 316 Day, which is, there's no real point to it. Really, when you break it all down, there's no reason for him to really be here. This segment was not about getting anyone over or, doing anything, or they didn't cleverly tie it into something else. There could have been something interesting. I don't know, make him the guest referee for Brock and Drew, just something to spice things up. Just have a cool announcement, something like that. I'm not saying have the guy wrestle a match or anything, along those lines. But have a big Mania announcement. Have them say he's gonna be the host of Mania. God knows they're gonna have to spruce this thing up and make it. They're not gonna have a crowd. They're not gonna be able to pan to the crowd for all those big shots that Kevin Dunn loves. So now they're going to, and of course, and I like those shots too. It really feeds into the grandeur and the scope of WrestleMania as a big event, but we're not going to have that. So they really have to have things, spruced up a bit, or no one's going to waste their time here, with this show, especially when they know this, because this is not WrestleMania. You're calling it Mania, but there's nothing that's going to make it look like Mania. It's not going to have a big set. There's not going to be any pyro, probably. Maybe. I don't know if they could do that in that type of building. We'll see. But anyway, Austin starts listing off the rules. He's reading from a note card. And Byron is rating every single rule. He's standing up with a number, rating it from 1 to 10, which I didn't really understand. It was really goofy. It was just established, Stone Cold, just the camera pans him and he's like, oh, okay, well, you're rating me, Byron. Then he gets in the ring with him, gives him the Stone Cold Stunner. Becky Lynch comes out and starts drinking beer with him because, he also mentioned for the first time, they didn't even mention this on WWE television, that she gave him the stunner. Remember on Broken Skull Ranch? I did a video on it a while back. Another cringy moment in the career of cringy Lynch, but, they let her do it. Stone Cold let her do it. And so now we're here at this point. And, of course, drinks the beer with Stone Cold, and, we've got a moment here, I suppose. Then it goes off the air, and we get the Street Profits in the ring, and this is the funny thing. It's like I don't even get this. They're doing a WWE.com exclusive. They're getting just so they could put this on YouTube, I guess. Like, it would just have everyone go home already. It's like this show isn't even worth the damn. Half the people don't even care. I bet you half the people aren't even going to watch this when they see, what this kind of looks like. Trust me. I think when a lot of people tune in, they kind of see like what's going on here, that there's no crowd. I just feel like people are just not going to sit here and like tolerate this, to just like keep it on, especially for the full 3 hours. Anyway, the Street Profits are in, so he gives the stunner to Montez, and then his partner's just like standing there, and then continues to drink beer with him. And it's like, it's almost like this is supposed to be this alternate universe where it's established that like Stone Cold just does this. He just stunners, somebody, and we're just supposed to sit back and, oh, Stone Cold, you always do that. Like, this is his partner. This is, his fellow tag team champion. These are the tag champs right here. Why is the other guy, I can't think of his name at the moment, why is Montez's partner, not attacking Stone Cold? Not, he could like at least go for a clothesline, and Stone Cold could just duck it and hit him with the stunner. It's like, he just continues to drink beer with them. Then they show, Byron gets back up. He gets the stunner. Street Profits get more stunners. And of course, Becky Lynch doesn't get any stunners. Cringy Lynch is, she's stunner proof. She's exempt from all stunners. Like, like after the Beth Phoenix thing, like, it's pretty much established that they kind of like don't care anymore about like attacking the women, I suppose. Especially if we're going to do this like they're equals and everything like that. Like, seriously, like her getting a stunner from Stone Cold would really establish her as like one of the guys. She'd really be the man, wouldn't she? But of course, no, because it's kind of like the Stephanie McMahon rule. She can't be touched. She's untouchable. She's just allowed to say whatever she wants and, walk around there like she owns the place. But when it gets in the ring, and she could really like, like really own up to that persona that she's trying to play, and they're not going to do that. I would have marked out so hard for that, to be honest. And I think almost everyone knows that. I would have loved to see her get the stunner. And, something, and I would have actually, like, really commended her for taking it. I would have been like, damn. She, and plus, like, Stone Cold would take care of her, we know that he would have, this guy knows what he's doing. If there's anyone you want to take a move from, it would be someone like Stone Cold. You know what I mean? It would be like taking a move from Bret Hart. You'd really trust that person and know that you're going to come out of it in one piece. So there's your show, guys. I mean, is this really worth it? Like, was it really worth it to put this show out and go through all this and the whole 3 hours of sitting around the Performance Center waiting for your segment? Like, just don't do it. Just like, really, WrestleMania, April 5th, are we really going to go out there and put on a whole show? Knowing that there's not going to be anyone there to watch it. Yes, there is going to be a home audience. I get it. People are going to watch Mania come hell or high water. Now, of course, I know this is also going to affect the viewership. Most people are not going to watch it when it airs due to the current circumstances. They're just not. People have got a lot on their minds at the moment, so that's definitely going to affect it. This show is going to have very low ratings. I'm talking about Raw now. I mean, just like I said, just like with SmackDown, I haven't checked out the ratings, but I know it can't be anything that high. This is just like not worth anyone's time, really. They're just better off sending everyone home. See you in a month. We'll see where we're at that point, and then we'll go from there. But no, McMahon's gotta put this show out. He's just gotta have a show ready to go. Gotta please those sponsors. And I mean, like, I get it. It's a business. That's how it is. This is the life of a wrestler. They've got a hard life traveling up and down that road, putting their bodies on the line. It's not supposed to be pleasant, but like a time like this, don't you think this would be a good time for McMahon to show some leeway? But then again, we're talking about a guy that, that doesn't like people coughing or sneezing or anything like that. So McMahon is an odd dude, and this kind of really shows it. This really establishes that to a really disturbing level almost. I mean, it really shows that like McMahon really is not too concerned about like these wrestlers being in close proximity with one another. I know we had a really limited staff here on Raw, but we're not at Mania. Chances are things are not really going to change that much in the world and in this country come April 5th. That would be pretty miraculous. We're talking today, March 17th. I really don't see that happening. I don't really see that much of a big difference. If anything, things are going to get progressively worse before they get better. It's been said so. I don't know, guys. Anyway, thank you all for watching this review. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. Thank you to all my patrons. And guys, I'll see you next time.